Ab Morrison-Hayward, Hello, I'm called Ab, and welcome to the
Islak
live stream. I might sound a little bit different to you. This is something I've been playing around with. I'm going to turn this off. I hear my normal voice and hear a modified version of my voice. Normal, almost a robotic kind of sound to my voice. This is something that I thought would play around with a little bit. Just a little bit of fun to start off the live stream for this week. So I wanted to, I've been playing around with that. Hello, Kai the Snail. Hope you're enjoying this Friday. As I was just saying, I was playing around with a thing called Voice Mod. When I was experimenting with it last week, there were different effects. I think the effects change. So the ones that I was playing around with last week aren't there anymore. So there is that robotic one that I liked quite a bit. So yeah, just a little bit of fun to start things off. So I thought I'd begin with that and then go into my regular features that I have in the live stream. And I'm going to go to my word list. So now it's time for How Do You Say It? And I've got a few different words that I wanted to share with you today. And as you can see, there's some pretty long explanations here. I'll summarize them later on. No fear. It'll get a little bit clearer towards the end. So I wanted to take a look at three specific words here. This first one is asaba. Asaba. There's a few different meanings for this word. The first meaning is one or the opposite end of a row, a series, or lineup, or anything long. It could mean to be on the opposite end of a row, series, or lineup, or anything long. In a command form, it could mean to move to one or the opposite end of a row, series, or lineup, or anything long. So that's one meaning of the word. You've probably heard this word quite a bit if you've been around Isla people. If you've heard people use the word asaba, this is the more common sense of the word. It means to have the same name as somebody or to be somebody's namesake. So for example, I call myself Ab. That is a nickname. Okay, I'm just reading the comments. Kai the Snail says, loving the mic effects. Okay, that's good to know. I'm glad you're enjoying that. My name is Albert. That's my proper name. That's my real name. So Ab is a shortened form of Albert. And I was actually named after somebody named Albert Wilson. I believe he's from Alert Bay. So Albert Wilson would be my asaba, or I would be his asaba. Because we share the same name, I was named after him. So that's probably the most common use of the word that you will hear. When somebody talks about asaba, it usually has to do with having the same name as somebody else. More commonly being named after somebody. So that's the first word that I wanted to share. The next one is asaba. So the first one is asaba. The next one is asaba. So the first one starts with us. The second one starts with ace. And this means both ends of a row, series, or lineup, or something long. To be on both ends of a row, series, lineup, or something long. Or in a command, to move to both ends of a row, a series, a lineup, or something long. And the last word I wanted to share is huisaba. Huisaba means the far end. So far end of a row, series, lineup, or something long. To be on the far end of a row, series, or lineup, or something long. Or to move to the far end of a row, a series, a lineup, or something long. So those are kind of longer explanations. I have a shorter version of this. So just keep in mind, asaba means something like on the other side. Asaba means on both sides. Huisaba means on the far side. So again, asaba on the other side, asaba on both sides, huisaba on the far side. And that concludes this edition of
How do you say it?
And it's now time for
Wow,
the
the word of the week.
And it is ekyawa. So this apostrophe in front of the I, it changes the I sound from its regular sound, which is an E sound, to A. So there's that, and then there's this K with an apostrophe on top of it. So this is what we call an ejective consonant. So it's like a regular K, but it makes more of an explosive sound, or ejective, or kind of a clicking sound. It sounds like k, k. So if we break this word up a little bit into different parts, this first part is ache. Ache. And then wa. Ache, ya, wa. So the other thing about the K is that it has almost a ya sound after it. So we really should be, if we want to separate it into different parts, these two first syllables should actually be together. Aikya. Aikya. Wa. Aikya. Wa. So you put them together, you get aikyawa. And this is a word for albino. And it's considered to be like above the ordinary. So some examples of how we would use this is if you saw an albino eagle, it would be called Aikyawas Aikstukuya. Aikyawas Aikstukuya. Or another example, Aikyawas Tehwa. Aikyawas Tehwa. And this would be the cinnamon phase of a black bear, or spirit bear, as they call it. Technically not an albino. It's basically a recessive gene in the black bear that gives it lighter colored fur. So it would be albino if it had like a pink nose and red eyes. That would be a truly albino bear, or a black bear. But what they call a spirit bear is actually technically not an albino, but it is lighter in color. So you could use this term to describe the cinnamon phase of a black bear. So the word is aikyawa. And that's it for
Wow,
the
the word of the week.
Okay,
Okay, switching back to my webcam here. And Kylie Snail says, actually, I'm going to turn this off for a second.
I forgot I had the effect on. So Kai the Snail says, your videos have helped me so much with learning High Islak. That's great to hear. I'm really glad that these videos are helpful. I'm trying to help as many people as I can with learning the language, and making these videos is something that I enjoy doing because I can sit here in front of my camera and start streaming, and I'm talking about things in kind of a relaxed, casual way, and it's a little bit easier for me, and it's kind of fun. I can play around with things as well, so that's what I enjoy about making these videos and sharing my knowledge. So I've come a long way in my understanding of the Haisla language, and the way that I've been learning the language is different than what's been done in the past. So I kind of have my own way of doing it, my own way of looking at the language. So that has been a big help in terms of understanding more about the language. And the way that I've approached it is with an open mind. And I have really fundamental knowledge. So I started off with a little bit of knowledge of some basic aspects of the language, and add a little bit more and a little bit more. And now I've got like different levels. If you imagine my understanding of the language like a house, I built a foundation, and it's built up of like fundamental knowledge, just basic knowledge of the language, like the sounds, word structure, sentence structure, things like that. So I've taken all the basic aspects of that knowledge and I've built upon those. So it's like building a house. Every time I learn something new about the language, I'm building another level to that house. And that's the way that I've been learning the language. I should also mention that I am studying other languages. Like I'm studying High Islak, of course. I'm also studying Kwakwala, which is the Kwakwaka'wakw dialect, which is similar to High Islak. I'm studying Chinook jargon. Those are the main ones that I'm studying at the moment. So I take the same approach to those other languages. And it's really helping me in terms of understanding those other languages. So I think this way of learning, this teaching method, this learning method really helps. And that's what I try to do with other people when I'm teaching the language, is teaching them basic fundamental knowledge that then they can build upon as they go through their learning journey. Another comment from Kai the Snail: do you have any other resources for learning High Islak that you would recommend? I would recommend the High Islak website. So I'm just going to see if I have things set up for that. I'm going to switch to a different screen. Okay, yeah. So this is actually, I'm going to switch back here. I'm going to have to adjust some settings here. That's actually not the browser that I wanted. But let's see. Okay, so bear with me as I'm setting things up here. Okay, so you should see on your screen the High Islak website. So I'm going to go up to well, actually, I'll just show you this page that I'm on right now. This is a page that I showed, that I set up to show different symbols in the orthography. So I can show you this as an example of what's on the web page, on the website. So this is before the High Islak keyboard was developed. Before that was developed, what I was doing was I was taking different symbols and pasting them. Or in Microsoft Word, I would go to where it says insert, try to find a symbol that I was looking for, and then insert that. So it was very slow, but gradually we got to a point where someone was able to develop a keyboard for us. But in saying that, I should also mention that using the keyboard actually requires training. Ideally, you would know the hybrid orthography first, like you would get to a level of understanding where you really truly understand it, and then start learning the keyboard from there. So I didn't start with the keyboard. I started with what I was talking about before, with fundamental knowledge. I had a lot of that in place before I started using the Isla keyboard, before I started typing. So I just wanted to mention that. I'll read out what I've written here on this page. So this is a list of symbols used in various orthographies of Isla. These are Unicode. These are in Unicode format, so you should be able to post them on websites like this one, Facebook, Microsoft Word, things like that. So Unicode basically means that it's transferable. It should show up on most programs, depending on what the program is. Also depending on what font you're using. Font choice is very important as well. So the font that you're looking at right now, this is Times New Roman. And it's the ideal font to be using for the Isla hybrid orthography, because if you look at this word Isla, there's an accented A, and there's also an apostrophe. So this accent mark on top of the A looks like an accent. This apostrophe looks like an apostrophe. So there's no confusing the two of them, because in Times New Roman, there's a lot of visual differentiation between the symbols. So that's why I use Times New Roman as my standard font. Any character that you need can be copied and pasted, and Times New Roman is the optimal font for all Isla orthographies because it renders all of the symbols properly. Other fonts might show them in unusual ways, or might not show them at all. So there's some fonts where if you have like an X bar like this, it won't even show any character at all. It'll show like a blank rectangle. And that's because of the font. If you're wondering why that's happening, it's because that font is not able to render that symbol. So that's why Times New Roman is the ideal font choice for the hybrid orthography. So I start off by showing box symbols. So if you're wondering what some of these symbols mean, if you see a vowel with a kind of a slanted line, a dash on top of it, that is called an acute accent. So an A with this dash over top of it, the slanted line, is called an acute A. This shows us where we place emphasis in a word. So if you look at this word here, you have an X bar, you have an A with the acute accent on top. So this means that we're saying ha isla. Ha isla. That dash on top of the A tells us we're placing emphasis on that A. And that X goes with the A because it's a syllable. These are three syllables here. Ha, I, sla. So there's three possible locations for this accent. And since we know it's ha isla, that means the accent goes on the first A. Ha isla. Ha isla. So this is Box writing system, and the hybrid orthography that I developed is mostly based on Box system. So most of it is transferable. You see some consonants with lines over top of them. So this is what we call a G bar. It's like a regular G, but it's a deeper sound. H, h, like geistem, which is cow parsnip. You see an X with a line over top. That's a h, like chach, chach, which is bone. So these are deeper sounds. You see some consonants that have apostrophes on top of them. So these are either glottalized or ejective consonants. So if you look at this letter C, has an apostrophe on top of it, it's t, t, like t'imota, t'imota. So it's a sharper sound than a regular C. A C by itself would be like t, like tukwa. Tukwa. It's a softer C. Tukwa. Tsimo tsa. You should be able to hear a pronounced difference between a regular C, t, and a or ejective C. T. It might take some time to be able to recognize that sound and those differences between the sounds. Some of them are glottalized, which means that there's a short pause in front of them. Like lit laka. Lit laka basically means to dry something. Lit laka. So there's like there's a regular la sound, and then there's a pause, and then there's the apostrophe with the L underneath it. That's what causes that little pause. Li, laka. So it's when you see an apostrophe over top of a consonant, it's either ejective, meaning it's harder, it's a sharper sound, or it's glottalized, which means there's a pause in front of it. There's a small raised W, and this indicates that it's a rounded sound. So a G and a small raised W is gua, like guaso, guaso. It's a G and then a small raised W, ga, wa, gua. So some of the consonants can be rounded. The ones that can be rounded will be followed by a small raised W. So those are all the variations. You can also see that the G bar can be rounded in some circumstances. The X bar can be rounded as well. There's an apostrophe. It has different uses, but it would take a while to go through those, but just keep in mind that it has a lot of different jobs. And it's also important to point out that there is a proper apostrophe to use. So the one we use is this one here, where it looks like a number 9. So use that one as opposed to this one here, which is kind of looks like a number 6. So use the one that looks like a 9, not the one that looks like a 6. So a right single quote, that's basically what it's called. A right single quote. That's the proper apostrophe to use with the hybrid orthography. And there's some other things that have happened in the past where Emma Bach used different ways of showing where to place emphasis in a word. So he used to use what I call a straight apostrophe. This was used in his early work to signify an accent. Later on, he started using an acute accent mark. So you can see some examples here. This is dukwala. Dukwala. This is the way he used to write it. He would type kind of a straight apostrophe after the first syllable, because that's where we're placing emphasis. Dukwala. Later on, in his second version of his orthography, he changed it. So he got rid of that straight dash, and he started using the slanted line over top of the vowel. So these are pronounced exactly the same way. It's just a different way of writing them. So this is the older way. Hein Vink also used this method in his second orthography. So Hein Vink was a linguist that worked with our language early on, like in the 70s. Other linguists like Emma Bach came along later. And so there's been a progression of different writing systems that have been developed by all the linguists that have worked with our language. Next are symbols that were used by Lincoln and Rath. The main difference is in what we call lateral sounds. So they used the tilde L. This is the LH in Emma Bach's orthography. So this is a sound. They used the lambda symbol for the DL sound in Emma Bach's orthography. They used the barred lambda for the TL in Emma Bach. We have the ejected barred lambda for the T apostrophe L, or the T with an apostrophe on top, and then the L They also use what's called syllabic syllables, syllabic consonants, I should say. So they would put like a letter L, for example, with a little dash underneath. This is basically EL. This M with a dash is EM, N with a dash under it is EN. They also modified and G's and X's for the deeper sounds. So you can see that's kind of a triangular shape on top of the G. I believe this symbol is called a cairn. And this is the way that Lincoln and Rath symbolized this symbol. Hein Vink and Emma Bach used the straight line over top of this G and this L, the deeper ones, the deeper sounds. Hein Vink also used a little circle. This is basically like the degree symbol. So if you're saying like today it was 5 degrees Celsius, you would put a 5 and then this degree symbol and then a capital C. That's the way you would do that. So this is the way of rounding consonants that Vink used. In Lincoln and Rath and Emma Bach, they changed this to a small raised W. And it's the same in the hybrid orthography. And Hein Vink also used he developed different writing systems. In his first writing system, he used an A with 2 dots over top of it. Those 2 dots are called umlaut. So the umlaut A is in his first writing system, and this is the AI. This is basically like in the English word met or pet or bet. So that's what he would use. That's how he would symbolize that symbol. That's the way Hein Vink did it. Other linguists that came along afterwards would use AI. And there's other symbols like the schwa, which is an upside down E. This is an IPA symbol. So IPA stands for International Phonetic Alphabet. In some dialects, you will see the schwa like this, where it's an upside down E. It appears as a regular E in most of the Isla orthographies. In Lincoln and Rath, they use this square root symbol. This is to show word structure. So this shows the root word of a full word. So an example of this would be this root symbol, which actually comes from math. It's a mathematics symbol. It's used here to symbolize that this word, this part of the word book, is a root word and it means human, but it needs to have something added to it. That's what this dash means. This dash means the word can't be used by itself. It has to have something added. So if we add this AI, and then it becomes beque. Beque means body. So when you see this root symbol and then a few letters afterwards, that means this is the root of the full word. So book is the root of beque. And the way that Isla words are built is exactly like this, where you start off with a root word and you add suffixes to the end of it. You change the suffix, you change the meaning of the word. And you can see other variations on this tilde L symbol up here. This L with this curved line going through it. There's different variations of it you might see in different dialects. So there's some where it has a straight line, but it's slanted going through the middle. There's others where it's a straight line going straight through. It's not slanted. There's another version where there's kind of a looped line going through the L called a belted L. So I've shown you these in the past couple of live streams that I've done. These are all variations on that sound. But the one that we use in the hybrid orthography is this one here, the tilde L, which comes from Lincoln and Rath. So that's a quick run through of one of the resources that's here on the islak website. So this is what the website looks like. I'll go to the home page, and it says, Yout, welcome to the homepage of the islak website. On this site, we provide Haisla language content and tools for Gukwalut, which means fellow villagers, to follow along with and learn. From the menu above, you can check out language resources and the latest news, as well as a contact page for any questions you might have for me. Wow. So I created this page and I maintain it. I'll show you a little bit more. So I mentioned you can go to the menu bar. So the home page is here on the menu bar. If you check on the news button in the menu bar, this is basically the blog. So this is a blog article that I put up a little while ago. So I just realized at the end of September that this website actually turned 5 years old. So I created this website on September 26, 2018. So I just created a quick blog to talk more about that. And these are different articles that I've posted on the blog. Just stuff that's happening to keep people up to date. So you can go there and take a look at the blog. This section here is what I call things to know about Haisla. And this is something that I put together to show how Haisla is different from English. So I have a series of different articles that talk about one aspect of Haisla that's different than English. So there's about 14 or 15 separate web pages here. So I go into a lot of detail about how the languages are different, because it's really important to know that, especially when you're starting to learn the Haisla language. Under resources, there's quite a few different sections here. So there's a Haisla introduction, where you can go to find out how you introduce yourself in Haisla. There's a Haisla calendar. There's commonly used words and phrases. There's language packages. There's lots of different stuff on here. So if I click on this Haisla language packages link, this shows you all of the different projects that were worked on by different people in the past. It has word lists, and also there's SoundCloud playlists. So you can listen to recordings and read along as you're listening to them. So each one has a PDF file. Each PDF file, you can look at it on the website, or you can download it. So down here it says download. So if you click on that, you can download it to your computer and read it on your computer or your tablet or phone or whatever it is that you're reading it on. So there's 3 language packages here. They all have PDF word lists and SoundCloud playlists, so you can read and listen at the same time. Those are really useful. Might want to check those out. This is Hey Enam's Haisla. So these are songs that I wrote using the Haisla language. Most of them are all Haisla. Some of them have some English in them. So I put everything on this page here. So there's a video playlist where you can watch a video of me performing these songs. And there's also an audio playlist. If you just want to listen to the songs on SoundCloud, you can do that. And I also created a booklet in PDF format. So I wrote all of the lyrics here to all of the songs. So you can see there's about a dozen songs altogether. So those are all songs that I wrote using the Haisla language. Some of them I didn't write, I adapted them. Like there's one song where I took the melody for Farmer in the Dell, and I changed that to Haisla. It's not a direct translation. It basically talks about different animals, kind of like the Farmer in the Dell song, but it's a little bit different, where I talk about what the animals do. So like an eagle flies. a halibut swims, a wolf crawls, and things like that. So that's kind of how I created that song. So that would be interesting to check out if you want to do that. There's videos here. There's a contact page. So there's a couple of different ways you can contact me. You can fill in your name here, your email address, and then you can make your comment. Once you finish that, press submit. It will send this to my email. It'll send it directly to me. That's one way you can contact me. You can also contact me through my email address. As I said, this one takes you directly, it sends it directly to my email. But if you just want to send something to my email address without coming to the webpage, you can send it to islak@gmail.com. And I think I'll write that. I'll change my screen here. And I'll type out the email address. So it's HAISLAKAL@gmail.com. So islak@gmail.com. So you can send it directly through your email provider as well. And as I mentioned before, you can do it through the website. And I'm just looking at the comments here. Car the Snail says, happy 5 years. Yippee. Yes, thank you for that. This is something that I'm very proud of. Whoops, I just bumped the microphone there. I'm not proud of that. But having my idea behind the website was to put a lot of different resources in one place. And that's been the main purpose behind it. And so it's useful for people who want to find other resources. So that's a place you can go. There's a lot of stuff on there. I've added quite a few different things to it over the past 5 years, and I continue to add more to it. So it's something that I like to do, and it's something that I hope people find helpful. So thank you for watching and listening. I'll conclude today's live stream by saying what I always say at the end of every live stream. Learning is its own reward. Ik squigwa las. Wah.